That's the point. It's for the Modo community. This tutorial is on how to do a procedural eyeball, and I'd like to start by saying you'd be much better off with an image map and not using all internal textures. But what we're going to do is we're going to show what it takes to get to an eyeball like that, which is all procedural textures within Modo. So I'm going to start with a new scene. Let me save what we have here. No. Okay, I'm going to start under modeling. It happens to be that an eyeball are just about 24 millimeters all the time. So we're going to start with a sphere. We're going to position it at 0, 0, 0. And we're going to make it 12 millimeter radius. And actually, it's quite helpful doing these things accurately, because when we're doing the textures, it becomes a big deal. Sides and segments, 24 of each, I think I'll do. And we'll put it on the y-axis so it will face straight up, and we'll light it that way. I'm going to hit apply. This will be tiny, like that. Good. Okay. We're going to do the texture on the eyeball first and make the transparent part, because that's a big issue with this. So we're going to make one texture for most of the eye. I'm going to go to wireframe here and select most of my polygons. I don't want all of them, and I'll show you why momentarily. I'll probably do it better from a plane view. We'll go around there. Good. I'm going to make a new material, which we're going to call eyeball. It's going to be white, very white. And we'll make it 100% diffuse right now. And we'll keep that specular where it is and hit OK. Now we're going to go over to the render window. Play, and you'll see what we have here. We have a white ball hanging in space. I'm going to turn off my environment, because my environment makes it tricky to see stuff. So it will be like that. Good. And I'm going to move my light. I want my light looking down directly on it. So let's see, what's our best bet here? If I go out here, let me make sure we can see the lights. I'm pretty certain we can. Show lights. Good. There's my light. There's my eyeball there. We'll select that light, and we will rotate it. I just renamed it. Either way, let's try. Clearly, we're looking through the light, which is pretty weird. Let's try that again. Camera. Hey, we're on the light. Let's try just this. Okay, that's a little better. Y should be -90, I think. Good. Let's try this at -92. Good. Now we're looking down directly on it, which is where we want to start. Now, let's close this up here, like that, and like that, and we'll go into the eyeball shader itself. There's a list of all of our textures floating around here. We have a lot of different textures, but the enhanced Modo textures are the best place to start. And you'll notice they actually have several things like iris, and veins, things like that. We're going to use all of these, not all of these, but we're going to use some of these, but probably not the ones you would think. I discovered actually that for the veins of the eyeball, I'm much better off using something called Cruddy, I think. Let me see if I can find it here. Cruddy, this right here actually makes a much better vein, and I'll show you why. We got it here. Let's put that layer in there. We'll go to our enhanced modos, noise, Cruddy. Okay, so that drops the texture right on top there, and we need to look at the, I'll refocus this down here too. I don't want to call it transform manipulator, the texture locator. I'm going to do this whole tutorial without using UV maps and without using nodes. We'll do it all within the traditional tree-based shader here and using projections. In this case, we're going to keep that solid projection probably. Although its size is going to affect us, it sets a default size. If I go 4 millimeters, yes, that does change it. So this is probably going to dictate a lot of what our texture looks like. Good. Okay, now let's head over there and we'll take a look at our colors, which are a big part of this. There we go. So the background color, we're going to want to be bright white. And the foreground color is going to be bloody. That looks pretty bloody there. Noise type, you can play around with and you get slightly different results. That actually is looking a little bit better. And what I need to do is I need to get myself more white in there. A lot more white. Oh yeah, that's much better. And we need to thin out those veins a little bit too. Maybe not that thin. Okay. Good. Good. Now, noise seed is going to change what the thing looks like. Different values will give you different results, and you can just punch around some values till you get something you sort of like. You know what, you can even just scrub this and you'll see it will be pretty randomly different. I have noticed that sometimes you get certain areas around certain numbers and they work well. And so if you like those, you might want to stick with them. In general, I try to avoid loops because you don't really see veins looping that much. I'm going to check back here on this side to see what settings I'm using there. Let's go into eyeball and let's go to cruddy and let's see what we have here. You know what, I wonder if I can just cut and paste. I probably can. I will copy this one, which is a little bit of a cheat, but it will save us a lot of time. We'll close that up, go back to this one, and let's see if we can just paste this in here. Paste. Yes, look at that. We'll drop it under there, and I'll turn off this one and keep this one because I already know I like these settings. What I will do to make this eye different is I'm going to delete this layer entirely. I will modify the seed. Okay, that's good, and that's looking all nice and veiny. And you can see those values I have there. I would have eventually gotten them in the other one too. Now we have a bigger problem, which is that the top of the eye has to be transparent. It's not that big a problem, truthfully. What we're going to do is we're going to use another procedural texture. Geometry, we're going to use, I believe we're going to use circular. Good. I'm going to first set this up as a color map so I can see it, and then I'm going to switch it to a transparency map. So this will make the transparent part that we can see the iris through. To start with, let's change our projection type to planar on the Y. Good. So it's coming down from on top. And we're going to turn off our horizontal repeats and our vertical repeats. So we just get loops like that, which is just what we want. I also want just one big circle, so I want to stop the repeat like that. Good. Now, I should be able to modify this pretty easily, and this is going to form the opening of the iris. Right now you see it's at 2.4 millimeters. I will make it 6 millimeters. Good. And 6 millimeters. Not sure the Y matters. And 6 millimeters. Okay. Now, the one thing I'm worried about here, is if that's dead center. I suspect it might not be. I'm going to put this back to camera. Good. Oh no, that's probably dead center. So if it is dead center, I just got to take that circular now, and I'm going to turn it into, right mouse click this, a transparent amount, which is underneath surface shading, I think, somewhere here. I'm going to find it for you in the normal thing, so here we go. Transparent amount. Good. And you can see right there, now you can see that we're looking through the eyeball there, which is good. A good place to start. We might need to do something later, but I'm not going to worry about too much. We also can control this part right here, which is where it goes from transparent to white. And while I'm here, let's take this cruddy texture and the material itself, and let's make this eyeball much shinier. For example, this should be white. Good. Not that it's going to see that, because that should all be happening under the cruddy one anyway, which is all white. Good. Although we could do this. Oh my God, no, not do that. How about this one? No, we'll leave that the way it was. I'm going to head back here to material. I'm going to give this a clear coat because it probably has tears on it. This person might be sad, who knows. Good. That's sort of shiny. We're going to use a refractive index, and eyes turn out to be about a 1.4. Bye, Suwon. The inside of our eyes actually has a very similar diffraction, I'm going to look up, refractive index to water, which is 1.33. So I put it a little above that 1.4, and you get the same reflections going on, which should work pretty well. Good. No roughness, of course. Yeah, that's better. That's getting into the right place here. Now, the veins do stick up a little bit, so we're going to take our cruddy texture, and we're going to duplicate it, and we're going to turn one of these into a bump map. Right mouse, and if you look for bump, it's right there under surface shading. Bump. Now that's obviously way too much bump. Let's first modify the depth of our bump, which is an issue here. I'm going to go into the material, and you'll see that the bump amplitude is 5 millimeters. I need it maybe 1/10 that amount. So I'm going to put in 0.5 mm. It's going to give me micrometers. We're getting closer. Let's try 50 micrometers. That's a little, no, actually I sort of like that, except they're going the wrong way. You can see that they're sort of leading in rather than out. But that's easy to handle. Invert. There we go. Good. So far we got the outside of this eyeball looking about right, and we've got the part that's going to be clear to see down to the iris, and now we're going to get into the iris, which is the really tricky part in any sort of procedural eyeball. First, let's go over to modeling. We'll head on over here, and we're going to need a disc, no doubt. Isn't that weird? I don't think my eye is at 0, 0, 0. I'm tempted to fix that just because I don't want to get into a mess with things later. Items. Go to items and show me this mesh. And you were 0, 0, 0. How about the polygons? I just don't believe for a second you're really at 0, 0, 0. Probably your locator is, but your locator's not what really matters here. Yeah, I can tell you're not at 0, 0, 0. Look at that. Hopefully this isn't going to burn me. We'll see what happens as we go on. I'm going to go back here and see what it, 12, 12, 12, 0. So that's all good. Let's make ourselves a disc. It's going to be at 0, 0, and the radius is going to be 6 millimeters, 6 millimeters, 6 millimeters, 48 sides and 1 segment. I'm going to hit apply. And actually that's going to be at 0, 0, 0, which is up there, as you can see. And this is going to form our eye. I'm going to tell you right now, though. Let's first put it into a different item. I'm going to Control Z that I did that. And we'll make a new item, which we'll call iris. Although, let's paste it in there first. You notice we're up on the y-axis again. We'll rename this iris. And while we're at it, we'll name this eye. Okay. Now, let's pick our eye, and let's put it in the right place while we're here. It really bothers me it's not at 0, 0, 0. It should be at 0, 0, 0. And it would make everything easier in my life if it was all centered. There's a command that automatically does this. Center selected. Ah, there we go. Great command. Good to know. Okay. So now, when I go to items, that should be at 0, 0, good. And that should be at 0, 0, good. So now let's work with this iris. I'm going to turn off the eye a little bit here because it's sort of blocking my way. And what I need to do is we need to make a big black space behind all of this. We can take what we have. As a matter of fact, we probably should. So I'm going to go into Edge Mode and select this edge down here and get a loop and just scale this back part larger. Like that, actually. If we can reference it with the eye. We don't want it so big it sticks out, obviously. So that will probably be fine. Let's close that eye off. Now, I'll go back to solid here. Actually, we'll go to default. I'm going to select this top polygon here, and I'm going to SDS subdivide it, like that. Now I have a point in the middle. I'm going to go to that and select that one vertices, which it should be one vertices right there, and we're going to bevel it. Ooh, I hate it when you do that. Bevel, 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 bevel. There we go. This is going to form our iris. We are going to delete this middle polygon. Poly, select, delete. Good. And I'm going to take this edge here. Oh, good, I already got it. And I'm going to extend out another one like that, because this will allow the iris to properly, if you look at irises closely, and trust me, I have, you'll see that they tend to curve inward inside the eye, and that's going to form that, especially when we subdivide all of this. I think that's probably okay. While I'm here, I'm going to reverse all of these polygons, and I'm going to give them a separate material. This material is going to be the black part. Like that, and we'll take this one too. And we're going to make a new material, which we're going to call blackness. It is going to be black. Darn. We'll do it like that. Okay, it's not going to have any specular highlight coming off of it. Good. And we're going to invert those polygons so they look inward. Where are you? Polygon, flip. Good. Now, this top part we're going to call iris. Let's select those polys. And we'll get these guys too while we're here. Okay, Shift A, new material, M, That's going to be iris. And we'll eventually have to make that basic color there black, but for now we'll make it blue to make it easy to see it. Diffuse 100, it shouldn't really be shiny, but we'll give it some amount just to say we did it. And let's march back over to our render window here. Good. Now we're looking down on that, and we'll turn on our eyeball. Good. Oh, and you see, we do have a problem with where that iris is. That's actually sort of terrifying where that iris is. Although luckily it won't be too tricky to move the iris. Let me go over to my iris. I shouldn't say my iris, I should say my diffuse color here is clearly in the wrong place. World Rots should be on the y-axis. Darn, I was hoping that would do it. Planar. Oh, we got the wrong one. That's why that did that. I'm going to undo my way out of that. Control Z, Control Z. Good. Control Z again. Okay. And I want to go here and fix that. I probably should save too, though I'm not going to at the very moment. So that is on Y. Well, that's not the right one. Why in the hell would I be there? No, not there. Well, let's find out where you're going to go. Got to go somewhere. You know what? Let's go back to solid and Y. And I'm probably going to have to go turn this back on. I'll turn it back to diffuse color to find it. Good. Circular, diffuse color. I'm actually going to ditch it. Delete. Good. Now just start because this should all work accurately. If I set myself up on Y and everything's all cool, so I'm just going to go back to my eyeball. I am going to add a new circular layer. Good. Just like that. We'll go here. I'm going to go on the y-axis and go to planar. Now we're going to turn off our repeats. Good. Now that's just where it should be looking from. Now, head over here, turn off that repeat. And now we should be able to, by just modifying the size, make that my transparent layer. Let's see if we're right about that. If I go here and turn it into transparent amount, we should be able to see through it already. You can already see some of our iris in there, which is good. We have to change the size of it clearly, but that will be right here. 2.4 millimeters. Let's try 4 millimeters on the X and 4 millimeters on the Y. Good. And now you'll see that's not exactly centered. You generally have to move these things probably half that distance, 2 millimeters here and 2 millimeters here. And we should be looking dead center on an iris. Good. I might even make them a little bigger. The Y shouldn't matter. While we're here, let's move our iris upward. A little bit below that, probably right about there. Good. We also can adjust other parts of it. Right now that iris is very bright because its material is kicking off some specular highlights. Now it's not. You can also see, this is something we might have to worry about, that the top polygon actually has a pattern in it that we're seeing. And there are ways we can deal with that, but we'll get to that when we get to that. Right now, let me take those polygons that I've selected and subdivide them. Good. Which should curve them nicely. Yes, yes. And I can also change how big the pupil is, which is pretty easy. I'll just go down here and I'll go to my edge mode, which is 2. Oh, we already have part of that edge, but we'll reselect it. I'll go there and get that loop. And do I need another loop too? Can I do it just with that one? I think I can do it just with that one. Let's try scaling that smaller and we'll see what that does to our pupil. There we go. That's a good size of pupil. Okay. Now we have to deal with, you can see the highlights here, how we're getting that pattern where everything meets. I'm going to go over here to my model. I'm going to select all these polys on the eyeball. I'm going to delete them. I'm going to select that loop. Edges, edges, edges. L. And I'm going to fill it in like that. While I'm here, I will Shift W, and I probably don't want it, because what I don't want it to do is appear flat. Let's check how that looks in the render. That looks better, I think, and I think what we're seeing in the back there is the bottom of something, I think. Because we can't be seeing this right now, because we just did that whole thing where we modified it. Could we be seeing through the interior blackness? Nope. Huh. I wonder where that's coming from. We'll figure it out. Let me get to the texture on the eyeball itself, because that's, I shouldn't say the eyeball, the texture on the iris, because that's really what, when you get right down to it, what we're doing here. The texture on the iris is the big issue. So, we're going to go back and take a look at this one. If you'll notice here under my iris down here, there's a lot going on, and we'll talk about that lot, but let's start out with the branches of iris. We're using this branch texture. And if I go back down here, where are we? That's what branches does. I'm going to put it on and then we'll work it up and I'll show you how it gets to where we want it to go. Close that, head back here. So we're on our iris, we're going to put in a new layer, enhanced Modo, I think it's here, branches. Good. Now, it's very important we get this in the right texture space. So, we're going to go Y, we're going to go planar. It's going to do that. You can see sort of 1 branch, 2 branch like that. Turn off our repeats. Good. And you'll see this is already doing sort of what we want. They're all radiating out from the center. They're getting all branchy. Let's go over here and start to adjust it to where we want to go. We need a much larger number of them. We'll try 40. Okay. Now you'll notice they have sort of a weird place where they all break up, and that goes on. I'm going to turn on full 3D distortion, which is supposed to make it work a little bit better. Although truthfully, I liked it a little better without, so we'll try it without. I'll back myself off a little bit here. Disturb noise, disturb octaves, disturb magnitude, and disturb scale. These are very important. And detail. I'm going to put the disturb scale down to 1, which is very different than 2, huh? We'll try 0.1. Yeah, that's not good at all. Although it's kind of funky, but not exactly what we're looking for. We'll try 3. So that's how big these waves are that go through it. Let's try 1.5. Disturb octaves we will lower. That didn't make any difference. We'll try higher. Not making much difference either, which means I should switch it back. The amount, actually, let's try disturb magnitude at 0.5. Let's try it at 0. Huh. And actually, you'll notice something here. We're not dead centered on this. That's that same issue. If I go into this here, that this has defaulted its size to 1.97 millimeters. Let's pick a size for us. We'll go with 4 millimeters and 4 millimeters. And we're doing X and Z, you'll see. Good. And now you can see where that's centered at, and I should be able to move this 2 millimeters on the X and 2 millimeters on the Y. And that should get it dead center, which it appears to do. I might actually want to try a much smaller number to get the branches happening more quickly. Although while we're here, let's just play with these values and see what this does. Okay, well that's sort of interesting. And detail, if I remember right, and I can just grab these and slide and get kind of oh yeah, that's getting much cooler and much more like what I want to see. Now I need a bunch more of those. Let's make ourselves 100 of those. Good, this is starting to get eyeballish. I dig that. I'm pretty happy with that. Actually, we'll pick a different disturb noise seed just to make things a little bit different. Good. And we have to pick our colors now. The background color should be the last layer, and the foreground color should be the blue. Yeah. Good. We need a bunch of these, and we want to give them all different numbers of branches. I'm going to show you why. I can take this here and duplicate it. Right mouse, duplicate. And we're going to give this one a different number of branches. We'll give this one 150. We'll take that. 128, good. And we will give them a different noise seed as well, which means they will overlap nicely with those other ones. Yes, that's the sort of tangled stuff I want to get going on there. Oh yeah, that's where I want it to be. You know what, since we have these kind of straight lines here, I might also rotate one of these, the texture support on the Y. Let's see what happens if we rotate one 10 degrees on the Y-axis. Good. Let's try rotating it 45 degrees on the Y-axis. That should put its straight line somewhere else entirely. Although, frankly, that may have done something very weird. So weird, I'm sort of worried about it. I'm going to switch that back. Leave it like that. World transforms and world coordinates should be putting us at 0, 0, 0. I might have to do some testing with that. But while we're here, let's duplicate a couple more of these branches. You know what? We'll do it this way. We'll take 2 of them, and we'll duplicate 2 of them. Yep. And this one here we'll give 70 branches to. And we will give it a different noise seed too, and I'm just sort of randomly picking those. And this one here we'll give 110 branches to, and we'll give it a different noise seed too. And now you see we're getting a good, good messy kind of messed up eye texture going on there, yes? Okay. I do have to deal with that section that's kind of straight. Probably I can deal with that. Let's see what disturb detail will do. It might mess with it, but you can play around with all of these figures and get different things going on. Okay, my background color should be the last layer, which in this case should be that blue, but I'm getting this black coming through, but I'm not that worried about that right now. What I now have to do to this is make that bumpy. So what I'm going to do is under iris, I'm actually going to take all these and I'm going to form them into a new group. Rename, create instance. I think that's what I want to do. No, that wasn't what I wanted to do. I want to assign material, add layer. There's a way I can turn these into one thing. Lock preset. I'm going to find out what I did in the other one. Go back here. Good. And we'll go down. You'll see I have these things called iris texture. And I'm sorry, these things called branch of irises, because branch of irises has 5 or 6 different things in it, which is what I want to make this. So that is a, you know what, I could copy and paste it, but I should do better than that. I forget what I did, but I'll figure it out. It can't be that complicated. I mean, I did it before. So let's go back over here. And I think I want to store these in a new, I know it's here somewhere. Edit color, edit item overrides. Change type. Save selected as assembly. That's what I want to do. I think that's what I want to do. We're going to call this iris. I hope this is what it is, but we'll see. Nope, it already, no. We'll call it iris 2. Ah, that wasn't it. Save preset. I don't think this is it either. No, I know there's a way I can group these all together. I'm going to use our documentation. That's why we have it. Go over here, and if I go under our shader tree, they have a way of describing it in here, understanding the shader tree, specifying layer effects, finding, searching layers, using the library. Okay. The library section of the shading viewport. A material group item, that's what I have to do, is turn it into a material group item. Material group item. You know what, let's look that up. There we go. Containers, that's exactly what we want to do. Serve, okay, are based on settings under the group header. Enable. Press the keyboard shortcut Control-G, which automatically groups them. I wouldn't have ever figured that out in a million years. So I'm glad I looked up Control-G. There we are. That's just what I want that to be, and I'm going to call this iris veins. Okay, good. Now, one of the reasons I did that is so that I can duplicate it, and turn this one into a bump map. Bump. Okay, that's going to weird that out. Pretty heavy duty. Frankly, this isn't looking too bad so far. I think I actually have to make the part of the eyeball that is the clear part. I have to make that bigger, but I know right where that is. I just go to my eyeball, I go to circular here, and we change our size. We'll make it 6 millimeters. 6 millimeters and 6 millimeters. And we have to move it again, or else the person looks like they had a really rough night. 3 millimeters. Good. Good. Okay. That's pretty good. There's only a few other things I have to do here, and I'm going to go back to this eyeball to show you them. I added some spots If we look in the iris texture here, and I close this thing up, I'm going to turn off some things here so you can see where I added the spots, and then you can see, do it yourself certainly. I'm going to turn off the branches of iris so we see what colors we have without it. And you see those brown spots right there? Those are this layer here, which I made with pebbles, like that. And it's also very easy to adjust where they are by just adding in a different value for the noise generator. See that? And I'm just picking random numbers, and I'll get different places where those brown spots will appear. And the other thing I did is I used ring again, which was the same thing we used to make the clear spot, to make a bright ring here and a bright kind of wavy ring out here. I'll show you each one. That's the bright one in the middle, and this is the wavy one. The only difference between them, and you can look at the settings on them. Here, we'll turn this off. The interior one, later, just has its default settings, and this one has a disturb magnitude to it. Let me turn that on. And the disturb magnitude is what makes it, based on some sort of noise thing, be in a different place. I also use them both as bump maps as well down here by duplicating them. I'm going to turn this back on and actually turn this back on too. Good. Okay. Let me go back here. I am going to save this. Save as. New I1. And I am going to close it for the time being. This tutorial is about 40 minutes long and covers a lot of what we need to do here. I will do something else on the particulars, but for now this should certainly be enough to get you going towards the procedural eyeball of your dreams. Or nightmares.